All right, we are live.
Live from
Hello.
New York or Pittsburgh.
How are you?
Hey, Colin, CD.
Yes.
You,
What's on
you,
your go?
nothing. I have nothing to talk about.
No,
So
there's plenty to talk about. There's
I'm
always
so
plenty to
boring.
talk about.
Well, you have such great guests on your morning show, and you talk about such wonderful things. Who has been your best guest in the last 2 weeks?
The last couple weeks, let me think. Oh, you know what? We have this guy, Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus. We have him on a lot, and he gets into the nuts and bolts of contracts and football and the business side of sports and everything. And that fascinates me.
Yeah.
And the one thing is it's applicable to the Steelers that fascinates me. And I always go back and forth on this. And this is a good topic to throw around that's not too heavy, but it does relate to the Steelers and you can apply it to the rest of the NFL. He thinks it's such, and this is a guy that talks to everybody in every front office in all of sports.
Okay.
He says he thinks it's such a great thing that the Steelers will not change or haven't changed the protocol they have of stopping negotiations contractually as soon as the season
When the
starts.
season starts, yeah.
He said it can be a model not just for sports, but really for a lot of other businesses. Like, here's a window in which we talk about business. Here's a window in which we get down to business.
Right.
And if you're worried about one thing while the other thing is going on, it can be counterproductive. And he said, I know some people might see it as antiquated, or some people could see it as, well, that's the way Mr. Rooney did it, and then that's the way the next Rooney did it, and then that's the way this person did it, and this is the way Omar is going to do it. He said, when has it ever come back to bite them? That's number one. And number two, you know who's in charge. They're the boss, you're the person that they're dealing with, and it makes for an ability to focus when it's time to focus. And he's blown away by that more teams don't do that.
Okay. So my position on that is very simple.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't happen because of culture. So whether it's Dan Rooney, Art Rooney, Omar Khan, and Omar Khan will certainly follow in that mold because that is culture, and it takes a long time to build culture. The minute you make an exception, the exception becomes the rule, and so I admire them for keeping that culture. As a player, going in, this is what I've got with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if I want a contract, I better get my ass to the table and figure it out before training camp opens. Because once training camp opens, I know because I signed a contract with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't expect to be the contract breaker or the protocol breaker because
Yeah.
they're not going to do it for me. So if I want to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is what it takes. And that's not asking a lot because really it always comes down to if you perform, you have no contract problem, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
talk about Deontay right now, and Deontay's in a quagmire because he has shown greatness and not so greatness. Not bad, but greatness and not so greatness. Where do you go with that? Do you give? But the receiver market's so rich right now. Do you give him what he's looking for, or do you want him to go out and earn it again? You look at him. You look at Najee. Najee's probably still playing on his rookie contract, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if Najee comes out and bombs this year, what can he ask for? What can he hope for? Devin Bush, same thing, right? And so these guys are that puts the onus back on the players. It doesn't put it into a hierarchy, I don't think.
Well, let me ask you something
Yes,
because this is a great business meets sports meets our discussion type thing.
right.
As somebody who's often in charge of talking about big contracts, and you are, and I talk about contracts and what I do, I have a contract for my work. So we're a lot of times on different ends of that contract. If somebody comes in and says, whether it's for a good or a service or a salary, doesn't matter, it's all applicable. And they say, I think I'm worth X amount of money. You're way off. Like they walk into you and they say, I want to pay X amount of dollars for this car, and it's way up here and they want to pay this. Do you have to take your personal feelings out of it? And it can be offensive, like an offer. But
Well,
how do
I
you?
don't think you can relate that to the price of a car. I think you
Okay,
can relate
tell
it
me.
to the 300 people that work for us. And, normally sometimes it does slip through and maybe somebody has missed an increased opportunity, or maybe we have overlooked that person. And if somebody brings it to our attention, um, if there's merit to it, we fix it. We don't get offended by it. I personally have really great team members. I really do. And I call them team members, employees, whatever you want to call them. There's 320 of them or something like that, give or take. And I value them. And if the minute you don't value them, try to replace them. It's very hard to do that.
See, this is fascinating to me because, like, I work under a contract with Odyssey, with the radio company, and
Right.
when I'm due a contract, I say, well, I did this the past 3 years or 4 years, whatever the contract is, and I'd like a new one. And here's what and I always wonder, and I talk to somebody about it, and I always wonder, here's how much I'd like to make in this next one, but I don't want to run the risk of offending someone and asking for too much and turning it off. So it is
Don't
like
talk too much. Don't give away your secrets.
right, but
But,
yeah, it's
but
always tricky though with
listen,
contracts, and I think about that with sports too.
here's the thing. First of all, I think the broadcast market in Pittsburgh is severely underpaid. I really do. And you have a set of metrics that you can refer to,
Right.
right? I mean, you have the ratings. You have is it Arbitron? I don't know what the ratings are anymore, but you have ratings. You have listeners. You have followers. You have so many different ways, and I think that for you, it really should be pretty easy. And honestly, I would say if I'm Colin Dunlap, I want to be I want to be the best paid sports guy in the city, and if I'm not, then I'm not happy. Because I do drive that. I do deliver that audience. Do you deliver the audience? I say you do. But this is just off the cuff. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, but it's
We're
much
talking
like,
about a model, not specifics.
well, yeah, and that's the thing too. Like with running backs, I have X amount of yards, I've scored X amount of touchdowns, I have X amount of catches. But now it's become so skewed with those wide receivers that you're talking about because they feel like guys that aren't as good are getting paid more. So
Well,
up.
it's like saying there's nothing like in football it would be,
Mhm.
but in the business world it would be age 50. But in football, it's like saying, well, I'm the best 25-year-old with unlimited potential. I don't want to pay your potential. Show
Right.
me, right? Show me.
Well, that now you brought up another point. In baseball, you do have to pay potential, pretty much totally. In football, you kind of have to pay a little bit of potential, some production and some potential as to what you think they're going to be. It's a slippery slope.
Well, it is a slippery slope, and I did notice. And first of all, baseball to me is a complete disaster. I think
Disaster structurally,
I think the way
economic disaster.
disaster. I think baseball needs to be reinvented. So that said, when you go to the football model, you're paying for potential when you draft a rookie. I mean that's potential. But are all rookie contracts the same? Are they the
No,
same
but
dollars?
they're slotted in though for the most part. You know how much you're going to make where you're drafted for the most part.
Right. And are rookie contracts always 3 years?
5.
Oh, they're 5. But
Pick up the option for that fifth year.
okay, so
So
they
4 plus
can't get more before 5.
No, you play it out and then you go ahead and,
See,
restructure it.
I don't agree with that either. I don't think that's fair. I think a rookie contract should be a rookie contract, be 2 years max, right? Because the
Mhm.
way people at the speed of this game, the way people get injured, they have no chance to earn any money. And in the NFL's, I mean, what's Roger Goodell? I mean, he's like $45 million a year in salary,
Right.
so he should make that. And the best rookie in the season or the year, Pickett maybe he has to sign a 5-year commitment and nothing. I don't think that's right.
They are the football guys absorb the most punishment and make the least, and it's
Oh,
fascinating to me.
I mean, the speed of that game, my God. I think if somebody hit me running the ball, and I used to think I was pretty good, but if somebody hit me and I was running the ball, I think they'd shatter my body.
Well, this is good too. You can speak to this. People will say, and you remember like when Ham and Lambert and those guys played, how fierce it was. And people will say now, they'll go, well, the game's gotten soft. You've been lucky enough at times to sit down low, be on the field or whatever. Go down and sit down low and tell me
Oh,
that game's soft right
oh,
now.
it's not soft.
Go down and do that. You know?
No, man, I mean, wow, they hit, but I like that old fashioned Dick Butkus hit. I
Right.
like that Jack Lambert when I hit you and you're on the ground and I'm driving my shoulder into you some more. That's what I love. I want to see that.
I have another question for you. I love our off the beaten paths questions.
Go
If
ahead.
you could have a vacation,
Yes.
I was thinking about this today, and you could go to a beach and look this way and look this way, and there was no one within miles, or you could go to a beautiful city, Milan or Paris or Las Vegas or somewhere like that. Where would you go?
I'd go to the city.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Serious. You don't like isolation
Oh,
and being
I'm
by
isolated right now in Florida, but yeah, I love that. I do love that. But if I were to go somewhere, that's kind of a crazy question, but a
It
good one.
is. That's why I asked it.
Where would you go?
I used to love the glitz, the pomp, the circumstance, the busyness. And I don't want to sound like an uphill both ways to school kind of guy. I'm just 45 years old. But the older I get, the more I like to be left alone.
Oh, I like that too. Don't get me wrong, I love that too. But I can remember the funny story. I used to take my kids to New York City every Christmas. That was our Christmas, and we stayed. And it's not there anymore, but we stayed at the Waldorf Astoria. So
Oh
I can
wow.
remember my son Richie being 10 years old, and we had a suite with a kind of a parlor, living room in the middle between all the bedrooms. And I can remember coming out of the bedroom and seeing my 10-year-old son on the phone at like 11:30 at night ordering room service. And I said, Richie, what are you doing? And he's like, well, it's the Waldorf Astoria and I want a Waldorf salad.
Fair
So
point.
I thought that was one of the cutest stories ever. So yes, the glitz, the glamour, the cities, the Milan, Paris, New York City. Yeah, I think we all like that, but we also love the solitude of the beach because sometimes you need that escape.
Yeah, or like the mountains or somewhere. The older I get, the more and it's not a sense of condescending or being I don't need to interact with other people.
Sometimes I'll see TV shows and and I agree with that, by the way. But sometimes I'll see TV shows and I'll see, pictures of the Grand Canyon or these mountains, and I'm like, I have no interest in going to see that. That does
No.
nothing for me.
No, I have interest in beaches. I could sit on a beach with a book, not even a book, just by myself and look like my son and I, case in point.
You just did this, right?
We took a train ride from Philadelphia to Orlando.
Wow.
18 hours on a train.
Oh my.
Not one time did he bring out his iPad. Not one time did we have our devices. I took a picture or two. I looked out and we got a private car and everything. I looked out a big bay window into America for 19 hours straight. And I was
So yeah, but you see the caveat there. The one thing that you didn't talk about is it was just you and your son.
correct.
And so that changes everything. When I
Correct.
do, like right now, I'm quarantined with my son because he tested positive for COVID. So he and I are quarantined, and I'll be honest with you, he's not feeling terrible right now, but I like the idea of us being alone together. So when you throw that son component in there, that's pretty cool to be able to do that. So you're
What
lucky.
Here's another topic. Last one. This is a great one for you.
Go
This
ahead.
is up. This
Oh,
was
you're
got a
excited. He's
this
excited.
this got a
Oh,
long
go,
play
baby.
on our show this week.
Go.
All right, you watch the weather forecast, okay? And you're in Pittsburgh. And you watch Ron Smiley or you watch John Burnett back in the day, whoever it was, right? Or Joe DiNardo, Joe said it would. And you see a number on a temperature and you say, that's good, I can handle it. But then you see one more degree and you say, that's too hot. What's that number for you where you go, that number I see it's going to be today, that's too hot?
Never.
You could see 98 and you're fine with it.
Yeah, never. Because it's rare. No, it doesn't bother me. The heat doesn't bother me.
Oh my gosh.
No,
What
I'm
about
gonna bet I
cold?
know your number. I know your number.
What's mine?
90.
86. If it's over 85, 85 I could deal with. When I see 86, I said, man, that's closer to 90 than it is 80. That's trouble.
You
That's
are an absolute mess. You know
too
that?
much. You can handle 94 degrees and just be see it and go, this is great.
100%.
Oh
100%.
my.
See, the great part is usually at night it gets cool. That's my favorite time. I love that. And it's almost, I really do. I love it when it gets cool with a hot day and then it gets cool at night. Yeah, I really like that. No, there's no number of heat that makes me intolerable.
Like I've been in Vegas, it's been 104 and it's been cooler than Pittsburgh at 80, 89.
I'm not a Las Vegas person. I don't like
Oh,
Las Vegas, no matter what the temperature.
that hat screams Las Vegas. That's a huge upset that you're not a Las Vegas person.
I'm not. Well, don't forget, I had a background there, so.
Right.
But
Anyway,
no, I'm not. I'm not a fan there. And actually, it was Lake Tahoe. So
I'm a gigantic Las Vegas person.
yeah,
I love it. The
yeah, most
shows.
people do. Most people
Yeah.
do. I just don't like it.
I can't believe. See, that stunned me. I thought you would have a number. I thought you'd say 92 degrees or so. That's a bit much.
No, no.
Wow.
But when you sit in my office, sometimes it gets really hot, and that's 74.
Well, I mean, oh man.
So
All
let's
right.
talk. What is the opening date of training camp? July what?
Like a month
Is it
from.
July 26th?
Yeah, it was a month from a couple days ago, July 26th.
July 26th.
Yes,
So it's exciting. I think we
it
have a
is.
lot of things to look forward to. Again, my biggest concern, and I'll say this right now, my biggest concern is Matt Canada.
Can I tell you what I think about training camp?
Yes,
I
sir.
I know this is going to be unpopular. I don't think we're going to get a lot of questions answered. I think it's going to be a training camp we go through and we say we're right back where we started. And it'll
No,
be
why
Trubisky.
would you say that?
Well, because Trubisky will be the quarterback.
Yeah, but that's not where we started. I'll take Trubisky right now today over Ben Roethlisberger today.
Oh, I agree with you, but that's where we started. He's number one on the depth chart.
Yeah, but we didn't start there.
Well, we started going into camp.
Wait, explain what you mean when you say right back where we started. When we started what?
Camp. Throughout the course of camp, I don't think much will change. Trubisky will go in as the starter. He'll be the starter. Kenny Pickett will go in as the second guy no matter what anybody says. He'll be the second guy. Najee will go in and be dependent on to be a great running back. He'll be a great running back. Like all that stuff is going to.
So do you think we go into training camp with Mason Rudolph?
He'll be there. And no matter where they list him, he'll be third on the depth chart. Then he'll be traded soon after.
It's a waste. Can't they trade him now?
They could, but why not wait until someone gets hurt and thus get more value?
Put him in the fourth quarter in the last exhibition game, build his value, let him do well against all the other fourth quarter people, and then maybe he could show himself. But yeah, you're right. I guess strategically you don't get rid of him yet, but in all fairness, you should get rid of him.
Well, let's go a little further with that. And this is you can disagree. It's fine. I think we go into camp, we know Devin Bush, he's okay. He's going to be okay in camp. Miles Jack, you love him. I love him. I think he's going to be really good. Bang. He's probably going to be really good in camp. Minka Fitzpatrick is going to have a renewed sense of, all right, I got this new contract. I'm going to lead the defense. I don't see a lot of surprises happening in camp, I guess. And that's a good thing.
Well, I think it depends on what your expectations are. My expectations for the Pittsburgh Steelers 2022 season are huge.
I know you think they're going to win like 13 games or something.
Huge expectations I have for this team. This group of men, this group of players, this group of coaches. I love our coaching staff. I love Brian Flores. I love our defensive coordinator. I love Mike Tomlin. I love all of that. Put that with the talent that is coachable. What I'm not sure of, and not personal, is Matt Canada based on the calls that I saw last year. I don't understand them. I don't believe anybody. I remember Peyton Manning talking about them on TVs. And Peyton Manning, probably to me, one of the smartest quarterbacks to ever play the game.
I think he was so afraid to take.
But why doesn't he address that?
He because he was a legend, that he was afraid to step on a legend's toes, and he didn't want to show assertion and grab hold of that offense.
See, I think that's absolute. Somebody should have been able to put a stop to that. Somebody, if that's really the excuse. Did you ever have him on your show?
Ben?
No.
Canada?
Yeah.
He doesn't really do one-on-ones. He talks at the end of camp when the offensive staff talks.
Chelsea,
once
Danielle, if you're listening, let's see if we can get Matt Canada. Let's make a call. Call to the Steelers. Who would we call?
Burt Loughton.
Call Burt Loughton. Call Burt Loughton. See if we can get Matt Canada on this show with Colin and me, not on the Bubba show. This show.
Yeah, I'd love to. He doesn't talk much. I'd love to have him.
And we're going to hit. They're not going to be softballs.
Right. I agree. But okay. I think that's what you asked the question, though, about last year, and I think that's the reason why. He was afraid of the looming presence of Ben, and if push came to shove, he didn't want to shove.
Of course, I don't accept that, but I mean, I understand it. I just don't accept. It's not plausible for me. I don't. You're a professional football team, man. You got 32 of you. Your job is to win. If you don't, if somebody, your job is to win. It's not a personality contest. Your job is to freaking win. And, he didn't want to do that. And listen, that's all I buy it. I get it. People have said it. I have said it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how it was tolerated to do that. I don't understand how 3rd and 15 gets me a 2-yard screen pass.
I know. I know.
Okay. Oh. I don't get it. Somewhere in coaching 101. Okay. Now you might do that if you see certain defenses, and you might do that once, twice. But when that becomes your signature and people are expecting that because they know you can't do anything else, or you're not showing that you can do anything else, it's ridiculous. Anyway, I love you. So Danielle is going to try to get Mr. Canada, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, we'll get a bunch of people off next week, holiday week. I'm actually going to a NASCAR truck race in Lexington, Ohio with my son, Declan. He is already lined out to check out all the Fords, Zane Smith and those guys. Haley Deegan, female driver, drives a Ford.
She's wonderful. She's young. She's like 19.
He loves her. We're lined out. We're going to meet her, talk to her. So that's great.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
She's one of the next big things. She's rolling in that Ford truck. So we're going to go out there. And it's only a couple hours here from Pittsburgh, so I'll be there next week.
So I think Kenny Wright. Do you know Kenny Wright?
His son Chris is a driver.
Yeah, I think he'll be there.
Yeah.
Good kid, good family, good people.
Nice. Okay. All right.
All right.
See you, Richard.
See you.